Yep. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Wicomico County Council Legislative Session 2026-06 for March 17th, 2026. Today's invocation is from Reverend Dr. Vaughn Hayden from Trinity United Methodist Church. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, County Council and members of the community. I'm a resident of Wicomico County, so I'm glad I could be at the meeting today to offer a prayer. If you would mind bowing for a word of prayer. Almighty God, merciful Savior, blessed Holy Spirit, we thank you for the freedoms we have in this country and for the opportunity we have to discuss things and to be civil with each other, for the opportunities we have to be a part of our government and a part of our community. And we pray that you would bless this community, bless the county, bless those that are working diligently to ensure our county continues to progress and do well for every resident, and pray that all the discussions and everything that is considered today would bring glory and honor to you and to help our community to truly become all that we can be as wonderful Americans and as wonderful Marylanders. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You're welcome to stay, but I understand you have a day full of meetings.
I do have a day full of meetings, but I'll give you a little bit of time.
Okay. So for those who wish to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I'll entertain a motion from the council to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we have a slew of proclamations here. The first one is presented by Councilman James Wynn for the National Professional Social Work Month. And I believe we have Mr. Chris Bozick, Ms. Carly Rue, and Ms. Lisa Garcia from the Life Crisis Center. A wonderful organization.
Hello. This is actually ironic because this was supposed to be Mr. Councilman Merritt's proclamation to present, but I have the privilege of doing that, and it's kind of special to me because my wife is actually a social worker, and she's a social worker in schools for many years, and it's a thankless job. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
It's essential.
It's essential and thankless. You're right. Mental health is a huge crisis. So I'm going to read this. So we have a proclamation for Professional Social Work Month. Okay. Whereas for decades, the social work profession has been dedicated to improving human well-being and enhancing the basic needs of all people, especially the most vulnerable among us. And whereas social workers are the largest group of mental health care providers in the United States and work daily to help elevate and empower people, giving them the ability to solve problems, cope with personal roadblocks, and acquire the resources they need to succeed. And whereas social workers are active in government, schools, university, social service agencies, communities, corporations, the military, and health and mental health care settings across the globe. Now, therefore, the Wicomico County Council hereby proclaims March 2026 as Professional Social Work Month in Wicomico County, done this 17th day of March in 2026. Signed by all except for President Cannon. He's not here today.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
We'd just like to thank you so much for recognizing our profession. In our country, there's over 800,000 social workers, and this year the theme is to uplift, defend, and advocate. And so we work in our communities, as your wife does, for mental health, for social justice, and to help uplift the most vulnerable in our community. We're fortunate to have a social work department at the university, so we grow a lot of our own social workers. So we thank you so much for your recognition.
Thank you. think she's gonna want a picture.
Come back, Carly.
Now, we'll get right in front of this thing, right here.
Okay.
Right in front of the podium. And,
I should note that today we have to get all the proclamations back so President Cannon can sign them. Then we'll get them back out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Okay, next up, we have a proclamation to recognize the month of March as the National Women's History Month, and Councilman Josh Hastings is presenting. Do we have Ms. Brittany Young here for the Commission of Women? It looks like, nope, she's not out in the lobby, is she? Yeah, okay.
We'll still recognize it.
Yes.
This is a proclamation for Women's History Month, whereas in 1980, it was declared by then President Jimmy Carter that the month of March would be recognized as Women's History Month and provide an opportunity to honor the generations of trailblazing women who have built our nation, shaped our progress, and strengthened our character as people. And whereas throughout history, despite hardships, exclusion, and discrimination, women have strived and sacrificed for equity and equality in communities across the country. Whereas generations of Native American women were stewards of the land and continue to fight for climate justice. Black women fought to end slavery, advocate for civil rights, and pass the Voting Rights Act. The 19th Amendment of the Constitution was passed so that no American could be denied the vote on the basis of sex. Now therefore be it resolved by the Wicomico County Council proclaims the month of March as Women's History Month in Wicomico County, done this 17th day of March, and signed by almost everybody. Thank you for all that. I especially look across, and there's a lot of, I see Laura and Lynn are fantastic. There's so many, folks that have throughout history done a lot of amazing things, my wife being one of them, in all that she's doing. So Women's History, I wish it weren't a guy standing here, but regardless, I want to say thanks to everyone, and we're going to continue to make history. So.
All right. Thank you. Next up, we have a proclamation to recognize the month of March as Endometriosis Awareness Month, and Councilman David Ennis is presenting. And we have Ms. Shannon Hannawald.
Please stand up here, Shannon.
Yep.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for all you do supporting this important disease. Whereas endometriosis is an inflammatory condition in which the tissue normally lines the uterus, grows outside of the uterus, and can be found in the ovaries, fallopian tubes, and intestines. And whereas it is estimated that 1 in 10 women have endometriosis, which can cause severe pain, infertility, and dysmenorrhea. And whereas Endometriosis Association began Endometriosis Awareness Month in 1993 to increase awareness and education about the painful disorder plaguing an approximate 175 million women in the globe. Now, therefore, the Wicomico County Council hereby proclaims March 26, 2026 as Endometriosis Awareness Month in Wicomico County, done this 17th day of March.
Thank you.
There you go.
Hi, my name's Shannon Hannawald. First, I just want to say thank you very much for having me and supporting me again this year. This is the 7th year that we've done this, and the county and the councilmen have been absolutely wonderful to work with. Laura has been amazing in helping me get stuff straight whenever you guys need anything. A little bit about me: I'm a wife and a mother, and I'm also the 1 in 10 who have endometriosis. I founded Endo Warriors of the Eastern Shore as an ambassador for the Endometriosis Association. Endometriosis is a disease that affects all aspects of your life, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Endometriosis can take anything from you, and it did for me until I decided it was time to fight back. Fight back for awareness, education, and support so that generations after me do not have to go through what I and so many other women have. My pain started when I was 15 years old and started out as a doctor saying I had ovarian cyst rupturing. After that, my pain just increased and the help and knowledge from the doctors decreased. My parents took me to so many doctors and I had more CT scans and ultrasounds than I can count, all coming back with the results of nothing. How was that possible? I was in excruciating, debilitating pain that nobody could seem to help me with. My parents started to believe the doctors that I was just trying to get out of school, and honestly, when I look back on it now, they didn't really have a choice. Endometriosis not only affects you physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. I had severe depression, and at the age of 17, I tried to take my own life because I couldn't stand the fact that nobody would listen to me and nobody could help me, and I didn't want to live the rest of my life like that. I felt alone and dismissed by everyone I truly knew. After 5 years, I finally found a doctor that would listen to me, and as soon as I told him my symptoms, he said, "I'm certain you have endometriosis." Endometriosis? What was that, and why had nobody even mentioned this to me or my parents? The only way to diagnose endometriosis is through laparoscopic surgery. No blood work, no ultrasounds, no MRIs, no CT scans, just surgery. We scheduled my surgery, and sure enough, I had stage 4 endometriosis. That was the first of my 20 surgeries to try and help remove the lesions to help with the pain. One of the other main symptoms of endometriosis is infertility. The longer it takes to diagnose, the less chance you have of getting pregnant. By the grace of God, I was able to have my first son with no intervention, but for my second son, I had to go through fertility treatments. Endometriosis has taken so much for me. I've missed so many important dates and celebrations with family and friends. It took away my ability to have children like other women. It took a baby away from me during fertility treatments, a baby that was loved and dreamt of, a baby that is missed and talked about daily. Endometriosis has no cure, only treatments. Some doctors will say to have a hysterectomy, but that does not stop it from growing on other organs. Some women do not even experience pain from endometriosis. They only find out about their condition when they are unable to conceive a child. Unfortunately, there are not many doctors, especially on the Eastern Shore, who have any knowledge about this disease. I've had numerous doctors tell me that they get 30 minutes of education about endometriosis in medical school. That makes absolutely no sense to me. If they say it's one of the top 5 most painful diseases that you can have, it affects 1 in 10 women, which are only getting 30 minutes of education on it in medical school. Thankfully, over the last 20 years, there's been more awareness about education and endometriosis, but we are nowhere near close to where we should be. I feel, as my niece said it best, and it applies to all of us who fight endometriosis. She used the quote, "God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." This quote shows the importance of each of our stories and the constant battlefield we are on. I know some women do not want to speak publicly about a disease that is so personal, so I will speak for them. I will not stop until when someone says the word endometriosis, every single person will know what it is as much as they know what strep throat or an ear infection are. It is imperative that we all work together and support each other through this journey. My passion and drive are because I do not want anyone to go through what I have, but I have chosen to fight because you never know who is watching and learning from you. I ask you to remember, just because someone looks okay on the outside doesn't mean they are okay on the inside. If someone says they have endo, please remember this point in time and you will know how they feel. Endo affects each of us differently. It is a complex disease that requires numerous specialists for each patient. There are no 2 stories the same. I will always be 1 in 10, but I will also always be the one who speaks up and fights for anyone who suffers from this disease and their support system to help them through this difficult path in life. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Last one is a certificate of appreciation to Coach Butch Waller. 60 years of coaching at Y High.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
So,
Mr. Waller, would you like to step over here next to me, please?
let's see if I can remember. 60 years ago in Salisbury, we still had Hess on the downtown plaza, Woolworths.
That's a fact.
I appreciate him being here today because I know he doesn't like to draw attention to himself, and so we're going to make him go through this anyway.
Thank you for being
Well,
here.
A full day.
Yeah, I know it's going to be.
You got an important game tonight, don't you?
7:30.
7:30. So,
BC.
so we're here to recognize Butch, a name that I'm sure everybody in Wicomico County knows real well by now after 60 years of successful basketball coaching. I got to tell you, I graduated from Bennett, and I know Bennett Y High. I got more, and everybody knows what a rivalry that was, but I hope you don't hold that against me. It sounds like you already do.
Not at all.
But I went and found, I graduated in 71, I found my yearbook, and I looked up Bennett and Y High's record. And it seems that we played 2 games. Y High beat Bennett both times, 40-49 and 54-65.
We score that.
So I want you to know I don't hold that against you.
That's good.
Much.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Tonight is a huge event, and with Y High competing in state championship, it's pretty astounding. So good luck to you and your team. To develop a winning team is much more than athletic talents. I'm sure you know that.
Right.
It involves shaping a winning attitude and positive encouragement, which you've provided for 60 years. And undoubtedly, you've touched over, I'd say, 1,000 lives in a very, very positive way and provided important life lessons aside from being a winning coach. So I'd like to read this. It is with great pleasure that the members of the Wicomico County Council extend this certificate of recognition to Butch Waller for 60 years of service to Wicomico High School. On behalf of the citizens of Wicomico County, the Wicomico County Council hereby thanks Butch Waller for his service to Wicomico High School. Thank you for enriching the lives of students for 60 years, done this 7th day of March 2026.
I appreciate that.
I'll make it brief. I appreciate this. I accept this on behalf of all the young men that I've been fortunate enough to work with and watch them mature as they grow. And there's a lot more going on in basketball, I can tell you that. But I will pass this on. Not that there's too many elderly folks in here, but that's why one of the things that keeps me young is that's why I don't go to Y-High graduate alumni associations anymore, because the first thing they want to read, they stand up there and say, okay, we're going to tell you who died. Kids at high school have a lot of problems, but that's not one of them. So anyway, and you're all young in here, because my vision's not all that good now. But anyway, on behalf of all the kids that I've had, and young men that I've had, I really appreciate this, and they're the ones that get the benefit of this more than me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Appreciate that. We're going to make it come up at another time. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work you guys do.
And good luck tonight.
Excuse me.
We'll give that back to Coach. We'll give that back to you at the championship party we're going to have for
Oh,
you.
I thought I could keep it. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. Good morning, Mr. Benson.
Good morning, Mr. Vice President. We're here for Legislative Bill 2026-02. It is an act to amend Chapter 125 of the Wicomico County Code titled Critical Area Resource Protection by repealing all articles and sections therein and adopting 22 new articles consisting of 99 new sections. This is a mandate from the state of Maryland, and the changes are those that are mandated by the state. We have Ms. Tracy Taylor from Planning and Zoning here and Mr. Andrew Illuminati. We're here for a public hearing.
Okay. If anybody has any comments, anything they want to share, please come to the podium. State your name and county of residence.
Boy, this is a mess. Jim Atkins, Wicomico County. Just a real quick mention about the Critical Area Commission. There is a recommendation for an administrative variance process, which is supposed to streamline and reduce the cost of the process. This would give the planning director the ability to grant a variance. Areas of concern about this process are: does this give the director power over an appeal without a public hearing? Although Article 125, Section 7, entitled Enforcement, subsection J, titled Appeals, addresses this, the question is, how is the public ever made aware of the variance, and will they be informed in a timely manner? Although we can't change the state laws, we should not hide the appeal process. Maybe it's not connected, but I find it very interesting that the state wants to mandate the amount of acreage to be used for solar farms. They want to allow poultry construction before there's a plan for the waste discharge from these buildings. And now they want to be in charge of the critical areas that they haven't protected before. The county continues, and rightfully so, to complain that the state is taking all their power from the county. Well, folks, now you know how the citizens of the county feel. Recent history shows up after the DAP tank and the biorefinery that it is as important that the public is kept informed when it comes to growth and development in the county. There's not much land in Wicomico County which doesn't impact critical areas. Let's make sure we preserve what we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Atkins. Any further public comment? I'll entertain a motion to approve Legislative Bill 2026-02.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Tracy, Colin, and Andrew, would you like to come up and share some information about this, a lot of which I think the public is unaware of?
For the record, Andrew Illuminati, Department of Law.
Colin Harrison, Environmental Planner, Planning and Zoning.
Tracy Taylor, Planning Director, Wicomico County.
Thank you.
I do want to address the administrative variance section of the ordinance. I want to be completely transparent in that the administrative variance provision that we're proposing in this new update is an optional section of the critical area ordinance. We do not have to adopt that. We had many discussions internally and with the Critical Area Commission staff. And actually, the Critical Area Commission staff were the ones that initially promoted it to us. And from the very beginning, I wasn't a fan, but I was won over eventually because we were allowed to craft and tailor the administrative variance process to what we felt comfortable with. I also had concerns, as has been expressed by some members of the public, about the Board of Appeals and usurping any authority of the Board of Appeals. I had concerns about any subsequent director may not necessarily look at an administrative variance the way that I would necessarily look at it. So what we did, because we did see merit in the process, and as we said earlier, from a streamlining perspective, from a cost perspective, we're always looking for ways to streamline development approval processes in this county. But doing so in a responsible way. So Colin has a handout that we have printed that we'll give all of you a copy, and we have a couple extra copies also to leave, but it's available. Anyone can contact me and I'll be happy to email it out. We've crafted the administrative variance process in such a way that it only includes very, very specific development proposals. So this is not a case of where what you would typically see go before the Board of Appeals, such as a pool in the 100-foot buffer or a new dwelling unit in the 100-foot buffer. None of that is covered under an administrative process. Those are typically the ones that are the most controversial. This is only catered towards those types of development that, for the most part,
are a rubber stamp when they go before the Board of Appeals. And I'll give you an example. If you have an existing dwelling that's on a grandfathered lot of record, in other words, it existed before the critical area law, there was a house on the property that existed before the critical area law, you're the homeowner, you set 70 feet back from the mean high tide, so you're within the 100-foot buffer, and you want to add on an addition. That addition typically would have to go to the Board of Appeals for a variance, even though that addition is going to get approved because it is a natural progression of your ability to develop your property. So what we've done is we have tried to take out the pretty perfunctory type variances that go to the Board of Appeals, like a driveway in the buffer, an accessory building in the buffer. And if you look at the handout that we've just provided, and all of this is contained within the proposed ordinance as well, even the accessory structures, they're limited in the amount of square footage that you can propose for an administrative variance. Additions are limited, driveways are limited to 12 foot in distance. Cases where we're talking about a vacant parcel being developed with impacts to the 100-foot buffer, none of that is going to be approved administratively, and it's expressly prohibited in the regulation. So this is only for very minor adjustments, for grandfathering type situations or very minor disturbances. We were trying to find a way for it to be less costly and more streamlined for the applicant, because typically when someone comes in for a small accessory structure, a driveway, an addition to a home, a patio, you're talking probably 4 to 6 months to get through the entire process, because all of those cases we have to do findings, send it to the Critical Area Commission. The commission can then turn around and appeal our decisions. We just had that happen when Colin had a driveway in the buffer, and we felt that the person had designed it in a way to minimize disturbance, and the Critical Area Commission appealed the board's decision, and we were held up in months on that until eventually we worked out a compromise. So I don't want anyone to feel that this provision was taken lightly in any way by myself or staff. We discussed it a lot internally. I do understand the concerns that have been expressed by the public, but I feel confident that the way that we've tailored it in the ordinance that's outlined in the handout we've given you restricts it to very, very specific minor adjustments in the buffer. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So is this something that we need to reinsert into this plan, which you handed us today?
The handout that Colin provided is an extraction, a summary of what's already in the ordinance. It's just a document for reference purposes of everything that's already spelled out in the new ordinance for administrative variances. I just wanted to have it in one handout so that you wouldn't have to look through the ordinance. In the ordinance itself, I think it's on page 57, 58, somewhere in there, but that's just an abbreviated version of that section that outlines the administrative process.
Council Vice President, should not we postpone this until the public has a chance to review it and get a better understanding of it?
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second that. Yep.
Okay.
I would only say this is or was part of the legislation and the change that's already been submitted. I mean, perhaps to highlight it, but I mean, the fact of the matter is it's already in the proposal.
What we just handed out is a summary of the restrictions that are already in the proposed ordinance. It's no different. The language is no different. I just did it in a summary form to make it easier for you to see the specific types of projects that fall under the administrative variance process.
But
it's not new information.
It's more self-explanatory than what was handed out previously, and I think it would give the public a better idea of really, if this was published in our next brief book, a better idea of what's going on.
Having sat on the Planning and Zoning Appeals Board for quite a few years, since '87, off and on, but there were very few cases we had actually on critical areas to begin with, and and I understand how you've isolated this specific minor adjustments down I think it's a very little, just my opinion, very little consequence to the public. I don't know who would really, whose attention would be drawn to it unless they had something that's pending right now. But I'm okay either way, but I'm okay with it as it's been submitted.
Well, as Tracy said, she may not be the planning director forever, and I'm looking at 125-5, the planning director or designee shall review a permit, license, or other authorization for a development or redevelopment activity in the critical area for compliance with this critical area chapter prior to issues of that permit or license. That pretty much says that you all can do basically anything you want to, right? Isn't that? Whether it's minor or major.
Each of the different types of provisions within the administrative variance, whether it is a relocation of a dwelling or accessory structure, whether it's an addition to an existing primary structure, or whether it is a driveway location, patio location, each one of those is spelled out specifically within the administrative variance process, and under each type of development, it spells out specifically what our limitations are. So in other words, if it's an accessory structure, it can't be greater than 30% of the primary or 500 square feet, whichever is greater. If it's greater than 30% or greater than 500 square feet, then it cannot be approved administratively. That bumps it into the full Board of Appeals. So each one of those specific scenarios that we have described in the administrative variance process has parameters within it that the applicant has to meet. If the applicant can't meet those parameters, then it gets kicked into the Board of Appeals full variance process. So it's very, very restrictive. Each use is identified and each parameter is explained. There's really no room for flexibility within those specific uses.
So the information in this handout is already in there?
Identical. It's identical.
Yeah.
To the code. It's just broken out just to be more concise.
Mr. Illuminati, any legal things we need to be aware of?
No, the only issue would be if this was continued. I believe this was introduced February 17th, so we're still within the 60 days.
Yeah, we have time.
Okay.
I guess my problem is, if I go back and think about the dog kennel issue we went through, we kind of jumped on that right away without a whole lot of oversight, and I understand what you're saying, but anytime we take any transparency out of our government operation where people don't have a chance to express their views concerns me. And I understand you're trying to streamline this, and I know we've seen some of these come in front of us, this critical area thing before, but I'm really, what option does a person have if you streamline this and you approve something administratively, and then say a neighbor finds out about it later and is not happy with it after it's taken place? What option does this neighbor have after, say, this person goes in and puts a building up or puts a driveway in? What option do they have then?
That's a very good question, and I see your point. Obviously, they have an appeal process, but then the question becomes, how do they know when the appeal process starts if they're not a part of the original decision when the clock starts ticking? I would say that what I would offer is we could easily add into the administrative process as an amendment. We could easily say that adjoining property owners will be notified by mail of the application for an administrative variance as a part of the recommendation process. We can add that in simply, and then adjacent property owners are notified. And I would offer that as an amendment if you decided to proceed with the ordinance as written.
They would have a certain amount of time to contact the administration.
They would be notified of the administrative variance process, and they would have a certain amount of time to contact the planning and zoning department, yes.
And then it would still be up to the planning and zoning director or your designated person to make the decision whether they want to pay attention to what this person's saying or not.
Yes, and I can't speak for future directors. I know in my case, if I received input from an adjacent property owner that there was concern, then we would bump it to the Board of Appeals.
Additionally, it could be amended so that all adjoining property owners are notified of the decision of the administrative variance.
We could do
That way, that then triggers the 30-day appeal process.
That would work as well, yes.
And so it's both sides. It's before staff considers the variance, and then after staff has considered the variance, the public's notified.
And then they have the opportunity to appeal within the 30 days. That would be fair.
The other side of this is still about basic property usage, and if that gets extrapolated too far, then everybody who comes in just to put a shed on their property might say, well, I should know my neighbor's putting a shed on, and when you granted, when the building permit, so it's a very delicate line, something to be managed, but I think in this instance, it would be well served.
I think that's a good compromise, and I would be willing to make a motion to amend, but, there is a public service aspect. When Tracy just mentioned 4 to 6 months, I was going to guess, having served it, would be 2 or 3 months, and that's quite a long time for, as you put it, a perfunctory, a change or a minor adjustment to the reg. So
to clarify, depending on when they actually, not everybody walks in the door and initially files an application. Normally, they come in, apply for a permit. They may or may not even be aware of a buffer or critical area regulation. So there's that initial review time. Then there's the alert time to let them know. Then there's the time where we have deadlines for the board, so they might not get on the very month they apply. So that builds in another probably 45 to 60 days. Then you have the hearing. Then we have the commission we have to wait the 30 days because there's the appeal period afterwards that anybody can appeal. So yes, it could be 4 to 6 months.
There's a couple things you don't need variances for, is that right?
Yes.
It's the same size building or
Yes.
something like same location? Okay.
Within the same footprint.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that, notifying the neighbors is a great thing, but there was a situation, and I was part of that, quite a few months ago, where all the neighbors were notified, but the one neighbor that actually owned the property right next to the people, that they didn't get any notification whatsoever that Board of Special Appeals hearing was going to even take place. So there's no guarantee that they'll even be notified. That's a problem.
Mr. Chairman, I'm willing to offer a motion to amend. I move that we amend this proposal to include public notification, and I'll defer to, if it's okay, to Mr. Illuminati or whomever to capture the verbiage properly as to how that's to be done. But I'll offer a motion to amend for public notification to it be integrated into this proposal.
Can we do a motion? We already have, we have a motion on the table.
I was going to ask, we already have a motion on the floor.
You do have a motion on the floor.
We need to close out of that one before we move to another one, right?
Okay, but this would be a motion to amend, would it not? Or that's what I was intending.
I think we have to end the motion to postpone first.
Okay.
Postpone.
So if we will withdraw that.
I'm sorry, that's right. The motion.
Okay.
Yeah, postpone.
So we'll vote on the motion to postpone and then go into that
Okay.
one. All right. All those in favor of the motion to postpone, say aye.
I'll withdraw my motion. So I'm going to vote no. I'm going to vote yes to post. I'm going to vote.
You can withdraw your
I'm going to
motion.
withdraw my motion.
James, do you
Gotta make it-
withdraw
gotta
the
make it
second?
simpler.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Now you're
I'm
up.
back on.
You're back on.
Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the proposal, the main proposal, to include some verbiage to capture public notification by planning and zoning on cases.
Okay. Motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
I don't think it'll work. All it has to happen is somebody not get a letter. And I have a perfect example of that, because I was the one that didn't get the letter.
That could happen to any cases.
But
Ms. Taylor, how does that work? Is it done by mail?
Yes.
How's the public contacted in that situation?
Two things. I'm going to let Colin speak to his process, what he already does as a matter of rule for board cases. But also, I understand, Councilman Holloway's concern, but that if there is a mishap, which that's what I'll term it as, a mishap, where we fail to notify someone unintentionally, that could happen if it goes to the full Board of Appeals or if it's done administratively regardless. It doesn't really matter if it's going to the board or administratively. If we made a mistake, we've made a mistake. Do you want to highlight how you notify and the process you go through?
It could also happen if the post office delivers the letter to the wrong mailbox.
It can.
So
That's what happened.
that's been known to happen.
We're looking at the tax map and going off of all adjacent and adjoining property owners, whether that's split by a road. No, that's who we're mailing these out to.
So there's no phone call or door knocking or anything? Okay.
Post the property, of course, and a lot of times, the phone calls that are generated to our office are with response to the posting of the property more than anything. And
Sees
then
the sign.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Motion to amend. Do we have a second?
I'm sorry. Don't you need the specific language to input in order to do that motion to amend?
I was looking to have either Mr. Illuminati or...
I understand that, but
Yeah.
that's not,
Yeah.
in fairness to Mr. Illuminati, I don't know that he's got it. I mean, I don't know if I don't want to put Mr. Illuminati on, but I mean, if you could maybe move the vote on this till later in the meeting and gave him a half an hour, could he come up with the language, or would it be better to come back the next meeting and do it?
I think we can put that together in the next, if this was tabled to right before public comment, we should be able to put something together with this specific section, subsection, verbiage.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Okay, we're going to, thanks, James. I got it. I'm good.
In a second.
I'll entertain a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Mr. Illuminati, thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy, Colin, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Mrs. Hurley. We got a list here.
President. Next on the agenda is a public hearing on resolution number 50-2026. This is again, a public hearing. Public hearing notice was published on the county's website and in the local newspaper. This is to authorize the county executive to execute a multi-year corporate hangar lease with Azure Flight Support SBY LLC at the Salisbury Ocean City Wicomico Regional Airport. This request is to lease hangar number 28 at the Salisbury Airport, consisting of 23,780 square feet. The term will be for 10 years, commencing on March the 1st and ending on February the 28th, 2038, with the option to renew for 2 additional 5-year terms. The rent during the initial 10-year term will be $3,200 per month, and the renewal terms will be adjusted by the CPI for all urban consumers. There is an updated contract that is attached to the lease that's on the council table, and we have Mr. Tony Rudy here, Director of Aviation, to go over those changes.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anybody with any comments they'd like to share, please come up to the podium, state your name and county of residence. Seeing none.
Mr. Chairman, I move to postpone the actual action on this proposal to April the 7th, and the reason being that we don't have a full council here today, and additionally, President Cannon sits on the Airport Commission. I'd rather wait till he is available for his input and insight.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I don't see, if we're making a motion to postpone this, why aren't we making a motion to postpone everything today? Just because the council president isn't here.
Well, he sits on the Airport Commission, too.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No second, so we will move forward. All right.
Mr. Mayor, you need to get a first and a second
Okay.
resolution.
I'll take a Motion to approve Resolution 50-2026.
Motion.
Second? Second. Discussion? Mr. Rudy? James, I got it. I'll call him up to the table. Mr. Rudy, good morning.
Good morning. Tony Rudy, Airport Director.
Am I allowed to speak now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good. If you have
Could you
questions, go right
explain everything that you would like to amend? Just the amendments?
So the contract was included with your briefing package. Basically, we're asking council to approve the county executive signing the lease agreement. Once the lease agreement is signed, because this went through a proposal process through county purchasing will issue the contract after the lease agreement is signed. It was a boilerplate document, and there were a couple items in there that we have removed, so that's why it was amended. Basically, one item stated that the county would pay basically for services such as a normal bidding document would have that payment option, so we withdrew that language.
That's good.
I guess you gotta go to the bench.
Any more questions?
Mr. President, or Vice President, just for clarification, in order to, if you agree to those changes that Mr. Rudy was referencing on that boilerplate contract, you would need a motion to amend. And I believe it was item numbers 2 and 7 that were being removed from that contract. So if you guys agree to that, then you would need that motion to amend.
Josh, you have anything?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see, 2 and 7. Okay. I will entertain a motion to amend.
Is it the whole section for 7?
It's 2 and 7.
And 2?
It's on the contract that's attached to the lease. You'll see a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, no, I see 7.1, 7.2, 7.3. That's not what I'm looking at right there.
No, let me see if I can find that real quick. So it's the one.
Okay, is it the county will pay the successful vendor in the manner and at such times as set forth in the bid documents? That's the number 7 you're talking about? Because this paper I've got only stops at 6, but it says.
It's the one in the brief book.
Okay. And then it's number 2, right?
Yes.
So that would be successful vendor will furnish all of the materials, supplies, tools, equipment, labor, and other services necessary for the work described herein, right? That's the one. And you want 2 and 7 removed?
That's correct.
Okay.
This contract's actually already started, hasn't it? March 1st?
That's correct.
Okay.
Successful.
Okay. Any more questions? Motion to amend. No discussion. All in favor of the motion to amend? Yeah.
Who made the second?
Josh did, didn't he? Thought you did.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was for the
Introduction, yeah.
resolution.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
So we have a-
It's asking for a motion to amend.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean-
I'll make that motion if that's helpful, unless I screwed that up. I might have said the wrong one.
I thought you seconded. All right, I got lost in the transfer.
So was it David and then Josh
Someone has to make a motion.
to amend?
Right. So who made the motion?
Josh did.
So Josh made the motion. Who made the second?
I'll second.
Okay, David made the second. And we are amending number 2
Number
7.
2
and
and
number 7 to remove from the contract.
That's it.
Correct. It's already in force.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay, all in favor of the motion to amend?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Now you need to vote on the resolution as amended.
All right, let me go back up here. Okay, all those in favor of resolution 502026? say aye. Aye. As amended. Aye. Joe's silent down there. Was he an aye?
Aye, yeah.
Okay, all right. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next for your consideration is Resolution Number 51-2026. This is authorizing Clark Mosquito Control Products, Inc. as the sole source vendor for the Clark Cougar ULV sprayer to be utilized by the Wicomico County Public Works Department. This resolution does require a supermajority vote in favor in order for it to pass.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 51-2026.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question. So would the supermajority be everyone in this room or a supermajority of the people in this room?
No, it's everybody.
It's a majority of the council members present.
Okay. All right.
So all 5 of us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, discussion. Josh? Go from left to right, if you could state your name and...
Amy Carnodal, purchasing agent.
Conrad Jones, entomologist for Wicomico County.
Adam Corey, acting director, DPW.
Welcome.
Thank you all. Obviously, the public gets upset usually on specific things. One of those being anytime there's a sole source vendor, public usually gets upset and lets us know. Another one of those things is if there's a situation where there could be something that is detrimental, seemingly detrimental to the public, like chemicals. I had a conversation this morning just on more folks who are upset about potential chemicals being sprayed and understanding that process. Conrad, thank you very much for all your hard work over the years on finding that middle ground and make sure you're doing it right and fitting with the state approved process and chemicals, et cetera. And of course, I actually acknowledge the endometriosis situation that we just had earlier. That's often been pointed back to chemicals. So I know we are here today specifically. I want to acknowledge this and emphasize this. This is for the sprayer itself, not the chemicals themselves. And furthermore, I know you all try to go by a prescribed process and specific chemicals that are only approved. But we are here specifically for the sprayer itself, not anything else. And I just wanted to make sure that was acknowledged. And if you want to say anything more on that, feel free to, but wanted to underscore that part.
Well, the good thing about the sprayer is that it is a ULV sprayer. It's called ultra low volume. We actually only spray a quarter teaspoon, basically, of active ingredient pesticide per acre. So it's a very, very low amount of pesticide that actually goes into the environment. The rest of that's mineral oil. So it doesn't take very much to kill a mosquito, and they are very susceptible to the chemical itself, permethrin. So we can use a very low amount of pesticide to actually control the mosquito.
Yeah, that's all I have. I just want to make sure the public understood that part.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Corey?
I have no further comment on it. I mean, we have one of the best in the business here. We're very fortunate to have that in Wicomico County. We're looking at the needs of taking care of a vector, right? Because that's what mosquitoes are. We all know the history of what they've done to the world. We want to make sure we're having the appropriate controls, and I think this sole source, specifically into Councilman Hastings' point, this is about the machine that helps us with the process so that we can go with the ultra-low volume. That makes a big difference when it comes to our impacts, not on just the bug that we want to kill, but ensure that we're not making those impacts to the public as well.
When does the season start?
We'll have drivers come on May 1st.
May 1st.
Right. And then we monitor the population throughout the season. We put out light traps around the county. The drivers also, when they go out to survey a community, will do landing rate counts. And if they get a count of 2 mosquitoes land on them within 3 minutes, then they'll spray the neighborhood. If not, then they'll move on to the next community and check that one.
How do you get that job being a test
You have to apply
mosquito,
for it.
to be bitten by a mosquito? How late do they go in the season, till first
Usually, it ends around the first week of October when nighttime temperatures start dropping into the 50s. After that point, the mosquitoes pretty much become inactive.
frost? It's a busy season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we get enough rain and stuff in the spring, usually the first mosquito off is Aedes canadensis, which is a woodland pool mosquito. And with the flooded woodlands we get around the county, it can be quite intense come spring.
It's just throwing that out here. I always have people reach out to me. They go hike through Pemberton Park and they say, "Hey, look at all of the bat houses that were put up 20 some years ago," and that natural defense piece. I don't know how many times I've had someone try to talk to me about this, but yeah, the more that we can continue in that biodefense piece or that side of things, the natural way to do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the bats really don't eat a whole lot of mosquitoes.
We don't have any bats anymore, do we?
Yeah, there was a study done at some point where someone was checking the echolocation of bats, and they put them in a large room with a bunch of mosquitoes. And so at the end of the experiment, they tested to see they found out how many mosquitoes were gone. And from that, they extrapolated that, well, bats will consume 1,000 mosquitoes a night.
Right.
Well, that's because that's the only thing they had to eat were mosquitoes. Out in the environment, most of them feed on beetles and moths and that sort of stuff, something a little larger than just the mosquitoes. So it is part of their diet, but it's a very small part of their diet.
I think something that's also very important for the public to understand, just generally, a lot of people say, "Man, my backyard's full of mosquitoes." They don't know where they're coming from. There's no wetlands really nearby. Mosquitoes can travel a long distance, but oftentimes kids' toys, a Tonka truck that's got water in the back, your gutters, if your gutters aren't cleaned out and properly flowing, mosquitoes will breed in very, very little amounts of water. So,
Kiddie pools are a big thing.
Yep.
And bird bass.
Kill them all, man.
Yeah.
Turn them upside down, get the water out of there.
And that's all it
fresh.
takes, just dump it out.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. All those in favor of Resolution 51-2026, say aye. Aye. Laura, should we do a roll call since it's a supermajority, or?
Are there any nays?
No nays.
I think we're good.
Okay, we are good. Thank you all.
Okay, next is a submission of an appointment to the Commission for Women by Mr. Stephen Lakin, our Assistant Director of Administration.
Morning, Mr. Vice President, council members, Steve Lakin, Assistant Director of Administration. Here today, we have 2 nominations for your consideration. First, County Executive recommends the appointment of Bernadette C. Kennedy to the Commission for Women, and I'm formally submitting her credentials for your consideration. The Commission is dedicated to enriching the lives of women and families by focusing on issues of importance and concern, including education, economic opportunities, health care, social issues, and legislation.
Before use resolution number 52-2026, confirming the appointment of Bernadette C. Kennedy as a member of the Commission for Women.
I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 52-2026.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor of Resolution 52-2026, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, next is a submission of an appointment to the School Building Commission.
County Executive recommends the appointment of Jared A. Shelton as a member of the School Building Commission, and I'm formally submitting his credentials for your consideration. The commission assists the county school board in planning, building, construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance projects as required.
Before use resolution number 53-2026, confirming the appointment of Jared A. Shelton as a member of the School Building Commission.
I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 53-2026.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor of Resolution 53-2026, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Lakin.
That's all I have, Mr. Vice President.
Okay. This time we open the floor for,
We're ready
you're ready?
prior to public comment.
If you're ready, we're ready.
Mr. Vice President, if they're ready, then you'll need a motion to take Legislative Bill 2026-02 from the table.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to take Legislative Bill 2026-02, put it back on the table.
I will give you that motion.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all. That was quick work.
Yes, thank you. Staff did a wonderful job, and we were able to put this together, I believe. So we're looking at Chapter 125, Section 55, subsection A, renumbering the current 6 and 7 to become 7 and 8 respectively, and to insert as number 6 the following language. Adjacent and adjoining property owners will be notified by mail of an application for an administrative variance as part of the planning director decision, period. Following a decision by the planning director, the adjacent and adjoining property owners will be notified by mail of the decision as to the administrative variance. So that's the language and what would be the request for the motion. And then by moving the former 6 to becoming 7, that then logically follows that 7 will now say decisions on administrative variances by the planning director may be appealed within 30 days to the Board of Appeals. And then 8 states, the new 8 says administrative variances granted for the expansion of existing structures are intended to be construed as cumulative for each structure. So that's the new language. That would be the recommendation, is that the motion is to amend the current 6 and 7 to become 7 and 8 and to insert what I read as 6. And I have that, and we can insert that into the bill if approved.
I'm prepared to make this. Is this this is an amendment still?
It would be a motion to amend.
Motion to amend.
I move to amend the submitted 125-55, Section A, to insert language that was just submitted by Mr. Illuminati regarding public notification, and to further change the existing application process, 6 to number 7, and the whatever number 7 is to number 8. Yeah.
Okay. Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Bob, is that good? All right.
Everybody good?
Good.
Thank you for taking care of that.
Thank you.
I guess I had too much confidence in Mr. Illuminati that he could do that on the fly.
That was good. Okay. Motion to approve Legislative Bill 2026-02 as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Real quick, you need to do it by roll call vote. Sorry, because it's a legislative bill, you have to.
Okay.
We'll get it.
All right. Councilman Holloway.
Yes.
Councilman Wynn.
Aye.
Councilman Hastings. Aye. Councilman Ennis.
Yes.
Chair votes aye. So we
Okay, thank you.
have our unanimous supermajority, whatever you want to call it, right? Thank you all.
Thank you. Council.
Thank you for the quick work. Okay, at this time, we open the floor for public comments. If you have any comments you'd like to make, please come to the podium, state your name, your county of residence, and your concerns. And as a reminder, you have 3 minutes to present. commenting. Okay.
This never happened.
We will go into council comments then.
All right, well,
James?
we're almost out of the woods. Wintertime is almost done. I was wearing a t-shirt the other day, and then I was in a jacket and a hoodie the next day.
Shoveling snow.
Yeah, and I thank God we have that service where we can take our brush to the landfill. My God, because I think I've done 12 loads at least, which is with my truck and trailer. So it's been a very busy couple weeks for me on that front, and we're approaching springtime. So I hope to see everybody in t-shirts and shorts here soon. So that's all I've got for you.
I really don't have a lot to say other than our illustrious governor has declared Friday meat out day, meat free day or whatever it's called. Say he's been getting some press. I'm going to be sure and go get a great big tub of chicken Friday. And I think it's a shame that he's put it on the farming industry like he's done. It sure doesn't show any support. So anyway, that's all I have.
I don't have much. I just want to recognize again the achievements of Coach Butch Waller. That's to do anything for 60 years is quite a accomplishment, and to think about the number of lives that he's touched, both the kids, the parents, his fellow teachers, fellow coaches. What an amazing accomplishment. This past Saturday, I had the opportunity to attend the Sharptown Fire Department 100th Anniversary Awards Banquet, and again, things that have stood the test of time. If you can think back what was going on 100 years ago and how far we've gone as a society and as a community, and just to hear the people receive their years of service awards. There was one lady that served in the Ladies Auxiliary for 65 years. So she started serving in the Ladies Auxiliary when I was 2. That's just amazing. I think President Cannon at the end, after he got done handing out all the years of service awards, the combined total was 395 years in one fire company. That's just amazing. Next month is Hebron Fire Company's 100th anniversary. So again, what a great achievement. All of our fire companies in the county, they do such great work for everybody. James brought up the brush situation at the landfill. I know the Parsonsburg location had to be closed a couple times due to being full. Just a shout out to those guys over at the Brick Hill Road location, trying to keep up with it. Many times I was over there and the line was down the road and around the corner with trucks loaded up with sticks and branches and whatnot, and the guys are just going as hard and as fast as they can, and we appreciate everything they do. It's a lot of work. That was a heck of a storm. So that's all I have. What time did you say Board of Ed was coming in?
The Board of Ed will be here 11:30. We do have one work session before that if the gentleman is here.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and go into a work session.
So moved.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have an open work session with Mr. Hunter Isaac from Coastal Association of Realtors. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Go on up here, sir.
Sorry. Thank you for the invitation.
And if you would, from my left, state your name and your title, please.
Hunter Isaac with the Coastal Association of Realtors.
Good morning. My name's Terrence McGowan. I am currently the president of the Coastal Association of Realtors. I am also a resident of Wicomico County.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I understand you have a presentation for us.
Yes, it's been some time, I think, before the Coastal Association's come in front of the council. I want to say before COVID, and a lot has happened with the housing market since then. So I thought it'd be prudent for us to come again.
Pull your microphone. Yeah, you guys can.
Apologies.
Each have your own there. Yep.
I thought it would be prudent to come again, given the high market fluctuation from 4 or 5 years ago, as it's slowing, equalizing into a more stable area. So again, thank you for inviting us to come. I'm very appreciative here. Are we able to put anything up there, or?
I don't have a copy of it. Do you have a flash drive maybe with your presentation on it?
Sorry,
I don't have the presentation.
All right, well, I'll start, because we brought printouts here. Our first data point, we wanted to look since February of 2021, and all the data that we pulled is largely from 2021 to 2026. We're reaching the end of the market volatility of COVID into the current year. And the chart that I have in front of me here gives a synopsis of the amount of properties sold in the county since February of 2021. The total end number over the last 5 years is 6,189. The majority of those are in the with 3 bedrooms. Your average median price is going to be $240,000, with the final average sales price $246,000. So what we have next, since again February of 2021, this is a little bit closer look at where the median list price has gone. In February of 2021, it was hovering around $200,000, and since then we're closing at about $290,000, so about a $90,000 increase in your list price over the last 5 years. And when we look beyond that at the sold price, right, what they're actually selling for, again in 2021 it was about $200,000, and we're actually closer to $297,000.
What size house is that? I'm sorry.
This is a median of all the homes in the county too, and I can.
Is that including townhomes and?
Yep, all residential dwelling property type.
A lot of this information is based on bedrooms. So whatever a 3-bedroom house, which is the majority what the sales are in Wicomico County, so that would mean a single-family townhouse, but anything within that range of 3 bedrooms.
2 baths.
Could be 2, could be 1.5, but a large majority is what appraisers go by, is more bedrooms is more than anything else.
Okay. I didn't mean to distract you. I was
no,
trying to make. Yeah, and because the 3-bedroom dwelling type is the most common with sales and I would say construction as well too, you'll find that the prices for a 3-bedroom closely mirror what the median price would be in the county. But again, there's plenty of 4+ bedrooms. There's plenty of 1 and 2 bedrooms as well. So one thing that I will say with the Wicomico County, we're approaching about $300,000. That is substantially better than the state of Maryland. The realtors, we push this message pretty hard. We're in a bit of a housing crisis in the state of Maryland. We are short about 100,000 units across the state. Wicomico is doing much better, I would say. We've seen population growth, I believe, since the 2020 census, and but still, the cost of home ownership has increased substantially, I would say, in the last 5 or 6 years. A lot of that is outside of the county's hands: inflation, cost of materials, wage stagnation, things like that. Utility bills, of course, I know we all get those. So the county is doing very well, I would say. The market volatility here since COVID has equalized. It is growing at a steadier rate than other parts of the state. So I have one point of note to that.
Isaac, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
So How come we hear that we're losing people in the state, and yet apparently we have a housing crisis? Now, I understand we don't have that many houses, but I do know affordability is a big crisis as well that's preventing people from being able to build a home or afford a home. And could it be an affordability crisis as well as a housing crisis?
Well, a lot of what we see, and I'm licensed in Delaware, is that Maryland and Wicomico County are not very they're not builder friendly.
Right.
Okay, if you see the amount of new construction, where in Wicomico County there might have been 61 new building permits last year, when you go to Sussex County, that number's in the thousands. We also have I'm also on the Maryland Realtors Legislative Committee for 19 years. We've gone before the Maryland legislator to try to ask them to please address the fact that you've been taxing retirement for years. Okay, when you get to Sussex County, that's not that big of a deal. So we see a lot of people who are leaving Maryland are getting to Sussex County. So the ability for new construction is down. With new construction over the last couple of years, the price has gone up, as we know, as just raw materials to build a house. The other part is just, that Maryland just really hasn't been friendly along builder lines and to retirement. So we do see a large, we see that exit.
It's really hard to compare Wicomico to Sussex. First thing is we don't have a beach. Okay, so we don't have that issue. Land mass is so much greater in Sussex County. We don't have municipal water and sewer other than what's in the city, towns and cities. City of Salisbury, some of the small towns. Building costs probably aren't that much different, but it's hard to make that comparison and basically.
I don't mean to argue with you, but if you look at the shoreline for Sussex County, it's not that different than what we have in Ocean City. Now, granted, Ocean City is Worcester County, right, but a lot of the large construction is inland in Sussex County. So, like I said, I'm
You can tell when you cross that line.
You can tell. Mm-hmm. You can tell. We still have, a lot of residuals from COVID. Okay, when COVID hit, naturally, but thank goodness our governor said real estate was an essential business, so we were able to keep moving when Sussex County was shut down. But then you had sellers who said, of course, we don't want you coming in our house because we don't know if you're COVID positive. So a lot of that inventory then became stagnated. So then we had the issue where interest rates dropped to 3%. That was very good, but it shut new home buyers out of the market. Okay, new home buyers were no longer getting seller concessions because sellers were getting multiple deals and they were well over top what list price was. So your new buyer market dried up. Interest rates rose up, and unfortunately, part of it's education, where new buyers need to understand what they need to do 2 and 3 years before they want to buy a house because they're cash poor. So these are all just factors that we see in our real estate market, where it's education with new home buyers. Now you have sellers who have the interest rates that are 3%. Well, unless they don't have a mortgage, where are they going to go? Where now they're looking at 7 or 6.5% mortgage. So these things are all changing, but it takes time. The other thing, what we see is that when the Department of Justice and the settlement with NAR back in August of 2024, where now it's mandated that in order for a buyer's agent to show a property, they have to have a buyer broker agency agreeing with a buyer, signed with a buyer. The state of Maryland has had that for 4.5 years. So the state of Maryland has always been forward-thinking, but you still have buyers who, we're all reticent. The first thing you do is, I want you to sign this. Well, agents need to be able to, they need to explain what it is, and buyers need to understand, even to look at one house, you need to have a buyer broker agency agreement. So there's still some stalemate areas through the industry that you're trying to educate buyers, and we're working to educate agents to kind of move the process along. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And I'm looking at probably 18 to 24 months for both sides to understand what the process is just to look at a house. Interest rates are coming down. We're never going to get to 3%. and people just need to understand, but for years, the average percentage was between 7 and 9%, and that's what it was forever. My first house I bought, it was 18%. But then people had savings. They weren't living off of credit cards. So as the world changes and we make adjustments, we do our best at Coastal, first off, to educate our agents so that they can educate their buyers and sellers.
It's nice to have growth, but I don't know that a lot of citizens in Wicomico County want to see us look like eastern Sussex. If you go over to eastern Sussex, it's a little tough to get around over there.
I don't disagree with that, but the other issue is we have the issue with the septic. And we've been kicking that can down the road for 7 years, as far as I know. You're going to have sections in Salisbury, in Wicomico County, that the house will need to be abandoned. And I'm sorry, but if the state of Maryland and the Eastern Shore doesn't do something about other options in holding tanks, your infrastructure from the tax base, because you're not going to get the taxes from the houses, because they won't be livable. So, and we've been doing this honestly for 7 years. So they're all issues. And right now we see that sales are being held up because of septic systems. We're seeing, so that's on the buy and sell side. And we all know that one transaction is a domino effect. There could be 2, 3, 4, 5 other transactions that are tied to the sale of one property. So,
as it was mentioned with obviously with Delaware, they are building a lot of homes, which is good for them, I guess, in many ways. But they're also plowing down farmland left and right. They're taking down forests left and right. That's not something that maybe is seen as kosher in Maryland, but they're doing it all on public sewer and water. And I think that's the one kind of thing that Maryland, we acknowledged this was an issue over 40 years ago, and we're just now finally starting to act to that. So I think the more that Maryland can do to try to maybe amend some of its current regulations. I'm assuming we still have the sprinkler, home, things like that. I don't know if Delaware has those kinds of regulations, but regardless, the more that we can build on public water and sewer, and the more that we can do to try to actually fix the problem with a lot of these other communities. We've got a lot of our communities that are right next to the water and who were built a very long time ago, and they're facing both saltwater intrusion issues as well as into the well, drinking water, as well as the being on septic. And it's no simple fix. There's no small amount of money that's going to take care of that. Even putting in a package plant for wastewater treatment plant in a place like, Wicomico or Nanticoke or other areas, as we learned last, meeting, it's extraordinarily expensive, let alone extending one from a longer line from elsewhere. So I don't know how we all balance that, but, Wicomico County, we did a long time ago, got rid of our impact fees. And I don't know if Sussex County has done that, if they still have impact fees, if they're paying for their growth. But we have done other things that we could do to grow, except for the most important thing, which is growing on public water and sewer. And so hopefully we continue to address that.
Oh, we do, but what I would hope is that the state of Maryland, whether it's the MDE or the health department here, would look at some of the other options that even Delaware uses other than holding tanks. There are other options to septic systems other than your typical gravity-fed system, and there seems to be there's a stalemate. So anything that we could do down here to help facilitate at least somebody being a little more open-minded about other options. I mean, it's 2026. There's more options than just we're sorry, but you have to holding tank. So that's one of the things we always try to, who do we need to talk to or who do we need to get in front of? And the bureaucracy to even just to get somebody to look at it and to see what some of the options are that the county next door to us are using. It's not fair to the homeowners.
Well, anybody from any septic installer you talk to will tell you they can replace a septic system where the old septic system is and make it work. The problem is the state won't let them.
That's correct.
And I've been here for a number of years, and we used to have this big discussion about growth, too much growth in Wicomico County 15, 18 years ago. We need to do something about growth was a big catchphrase at the time. And I always made the comment, the anti-growth people are across the street at the health department. They're the ones that's keeping growth from happening because they won't approve a lot of systems that could be approved and would work.
Right.
So.
Well, that's true, but the other thing, what we're also looking at is that the current homeowners and the residents, what can we do as you know, the municipality to at least be able to keep you in your home? So that's one of a lot of the issues is, so that that itself
like
also will hold up sales and resales, so.
Key to all this is water sewer, and I'm glad you brought that up. I was on the council 25 years ago, and we were talking about looking forward to providing water sewer in Wicomico County. But this does go back, I think, to Maryland state regulations, because from a funding standpoint, we have to comply with PFA's priority funding areas as well as tier maps. And that's kind of a wicked web as far as how to identify the areas where you can, really, it's only 4 areas that are having failing septic systems or the soil types are not appropriate. And what I see is the problem right now is if you find those areas, you still are not going to be funded to provide in between and to allow for there to be some pockets of growth. No, we don't want to become Sussex County, but there's something in between, and I think that's the linchpin right now that's holding us up big time, in Wicomico County at least anyway.
Any other questions?
I would like to say this, though. I think we need to change the name of the health department to the State of Maryland Health Department.
I've always said that. Yeah.
Instead of Wicomico, because I can't tell you how many times I get called, people upset with me,
Yep.
when I have nothing I can do with that health department. So.
But I mean, to underscore it though, that is important. They might be the boogeyman that we don't like, and they're half county, half state in general, but they are there to try to protect citizens. I've got an elderly couple that lives out, across from, in the area across from Bennett, and they're in a home in a community that is all on well and septic, and they went, and long story made short, they went through a big process. They have zero money. And they and some individual installer told them, spend all your money, replace it. So they replaced their water system, and they're still couldn't drink the water because they are still getting nitrates and everyday contamination from all of their neighbors. And that should have never occurred. They should have never been building that dense of a building construction in an area. And so now you have people who can't drink their own water, and the value of their home drops. The only way to fix that is through public water and sewer. And that's where we've got to focus on there. The health department's job is to protect the public health. Is there a common ground or somewhere that could be found? Yeah, maybe, but we also don't have soils like the other side of the bridge. Yeah, you've got actual soils where septics and things like that can break apart chemicals. Ours, as you all know, it's just sandy soil, so anything you pour goes straight down.
I have a person I'm working with, I'm trying to help her out, and the health department's taking weeks just to get out to their property, just to do a soil sample. Like, what? Just go out there today and get the soil sample and get it done. And it's, they've got them on a list, and it just takes them weeks to get things done. It frustrates the heck out of me.
It is, the health department must adhere to certain state regulations when it comes to things like that. It has been like an abnormally cold winter too, which I would imagine is probably adding to the delay in process. So, even external factors like the weather, right, is certainly something that adds to the process of getting your replacement tank, the process of moving to sell your home or buying a home, and things of that nature as well.
Thank you for your time this morning. What I would do is that anybody in the council, if you ever have a question, my name's Terrence McGowan. I'm not hard to find. You can reach out to the Coastal Association of Realtors if we can get you information, or you'd like us to come in and meet with you one-on-one, or if you have constituents or something. We would like to avail ourselves to the council, and anything we can do to answer questions or provide information, we're here to help you.
Can you email that presentation
Absolutely.
to Mrs. Hurley?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we would like to be a resource, and as things come and we move forward as a county, looking at infrastructure projects or public water and sewer, things like that too, like any data that you need, we're more than happy to provide if it helps out.
Thanks, Isaac.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Happy
for
St.
fighting the
Patrick's
good fight. All right. Next up, we have a work session with the Board of Education. Are they?
Thanks, Hunter.
In the lobby.
Okay.
I saw a few of them out there. I saw Gene Malone.
Come on in.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Great. No surprise.
How much you going to bet he doesn't email that presentation?
Oh, he won't. Yeah, he won't.
We are ready for you all. It,
So who do you need up there? I don't need.
Dr. Stauffer, whoever you need to bring up, if you need to add chairs, feel free. You might have to share a microphone. Morning. Good morning. How are you? Good. Good. Everyone.
Sick. We kicked him out.
Take it with us. We're not recording yet, are we?
I think we are.
We're recording in the hallway. You didn't know that.
Yeah.
Too late.
Nice things in the hall. Got me confused, Josh. I'm looking over here. That's pretty good.
Wait 1 second.
They usually bring me along because they're afraid of what I'm going to say.
Got to make it through the storm okay yesterday?
We did.
No roofs blew off the
The
schools?
roofs
or-
were good, internet stayed up, power
leaks?
stayed up, no
Good.
leaks. Yeah, we did well. Got limbs in my yard. If you guys don't mind sending somebody down from the county to pick them up for me.
All right. If we could start from my left, if you could name and title, please.
I'm Gene Malone, Chairman of the School Board.
Micah Stauffer, Superintendent of Schools.
I'm Brian Rager, Chief Finance and Operations Officer.
Rick Briggs, Chief Academic Officer.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Also in the audience, we have Mrs. Kim Miles, Assistant Superintendent for Student and Family Services, our Comptroller Jesse Reed, our Director of Planning and Construction, Lisa Lashby.
Thank you all.
And Dr. Bonnie Ennis, who's also on the school board.
I wouldn't forget you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate that. We always want to just start by thanking you for the opportunity to be here this morning. We appreciate your time. We received your agenda through Ms. Hurley, so we have that to be able to guide us this morning. And certainly, if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to let us know. So we're going to start first with Dr. Briggs. Is going to talk a little bit about testing. I know that was a question that the council had.
Thank you.
Is there going to be a quiz after this?
I don't believe so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Rick.
How you doing? All right. All right.
Wait, did you guys reschedule the Ardella ribbon cutting at all?
We did. Yesterday, we did, because a number of the guests that were coming down were from across the bridge from MSDE and the AIC. So we did reschedule that. We've not determined a new date yet, but we'll make sure we get that to everybody. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stauffer. So the council had asked a little bit about test scores, and test scores could be a lot of different things, but so I asked our local assessment coordinator, Mrs. Karen Hitch, who does a fabulous job, to just kind of put a compilation together of a variety of assessments that we've had so far this year, and actually have to look back to last spring. spring. So a few highlights and a few opportunities for growth. So I'll kind of walk you through that, and then if there's anything additional, if this doesn't hit the mark in regards to what you were looking for, I'll be glad to look into that as well. So we'll just start with the state assessments. This fall, we gave our KRA, which is our kindergarten readiness assessment. The state of Maryland just switched to a brand new assessment to determine readiness, and I'll be fully honest with you guys, we struggled a little bit in that. You see those proficiency levels there for both ELA and math for our kindergarten students, which kind of highlights what we're dealing with. Students are coming to us not quite ready for pre-K, or excuse me, for kindergarten. Even those students who were in our pre-K system, we think it might have had a little bit to do with the new assessment, so we're kind of drilling down into that a little bit more. But it was an assessment that was given on iPad with headphones, which we've had some good discussions in regards to whether that's the most appropriate way to give that assessment, but that is what the state requires. So our kindergarten teachers were able to use that assessment data early on to kind of see exactly where their students were and were able to make some instructional decisions off of that.
Do you think these children have that access at home?
Many do not.
Yeah.
Many
so
do not.
You're introducing them to something that they're not used to.
Yeah, I mean that's been a frequent topic of conversation. Kids coming out of my house did, right? But many of our students who are living in poverty, for many of them, it would have been the first time that they were holding an iPad ever. So yeah.
That's a good question, Mr. Holloway. And also keep in mind that the KRA's, the timeline for that is right at the beginning of the school year.
So there's no option if you can determine that this child has not had access to an iPad or a computer. There's no option that you can test them any other way.
No option, state mandated.
Smart for the state.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on, the next couple bullet points there are the 2025 MCAP. So that's the Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. Those are the scores that are, the assessments that our students took last spring, and we'll see how we do this year. But while the percentages of proficiency weren't where we like, we did see increases at both the elementary and middle school level for ELA, and as well in math as well. The number that should probably jump out at you is the 16%. For middle school students, even though we saw an increase from 2%. Although that number looks horrible and we're not happy with it, it actually puts us kind of middle of the pack of the state. The assessment that the state gives in regards to middle school math, and there's a lot of question marks around it. It's probably the nicest way I can say that. And the state is actually going through a change again in the assessment platform for the 26-27 school year. So we're kind of anxious to see how that pans out. The last bullet point there includes the over 2,100 multilingual students who were assessed this winter. Every student who English is the second language must take an assessment to determine their ability to understand the English language, with the hopes of that we can move them out of receiving services once they demonstrate English proficiency. And so we give that test twice a year as well. Going down that left column, local assessments. So these are not what are given by the state, not state mandated. It's to inform our instruction and we utilize MAP, which is an online assessment platform. You can see where the students took it in early fall, and then we've already given the winter assessment. And we've seen growth, not as much as we would like, but we're going to continue to hopefully do good things, and we'll give another assessment in the spring, so hopefully we can see that continued growth. Moving up to graduation rate. Wicomico continues to increase and exceeds Maryland's 2025 graduation rate by 2%, which was a highlight and should be celebrated, and we're currently at 87% graduation, and we've shown steady increase since 2020, and so we're very proud of that. Yeah, James.
I mean, so the numbers, it says they're proficient, and we've got 40% for 2025, Well, and then you go down here from grades from 1 through 10, it's like 52% that's proficient.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then into the fall, 59% that are proficient. I just don't understand how you can graduate if you're not proficient, and you've got 87.23% that are proficient. Explain that to me. I'm just not trying to be smarter or anything.
No, you're good.
Kind of
So the assessment is a one snapshot in time on an online assessment that a student may take at any point throughout. Most local assessments, if we're talking about like the 52%, we give that in grades 3 through 10. It doesn't mean that a student who through coursework, classwork, can demonstrate that they can be successful, that they can read and write, that they can do computational thinking, that they totally understand. And so that's why we have grades and multiple ways to earn those credits, as opposed to just a one snapshot in time. You know, if you don't pass this assessment, you don't graduate. You know, we obviously have rigorous graduation standards that the state outlines, and we feel confident in that. Are we happy with the percentages? No, but that doesn't mean that those students can't read and write. It doesn't mean that they can't perform. It's just that one snapshot time.
It's
a good question.
I was just confused there for a second. Thank you.
Yep. College and career pathways, we've shown great increase in both AP, which is advanced placement, and DE, which is dual enrollment opportunities. Just this past year, 116 of our students were awarded AP distinctions. They have a number of awards. So that's at the end of the advanced placement course, the students take another assessment, and where they have an opportunity to earn college credit by achieving a score of a 3, 4, or 5. And so we had so many students that scored those high marks on multiple assessments. We have seen a 20% increase in dual enrollment courses taken by students from the last 2 years. Students going to both Warwick and Salisbury University. And then the number of students taking accelerated coursework, so that would be AP and dual enrollment, again, continues to grow, which we're very pleased with. Yeah, James.
When they do dual enrollment, does that affect your numbers for like when you receive money from the state?
It does not. It does not. Okay. So they are a FTE with us, a full-time equivalent student, and then they have the ability to take courses with us, and then also at Warwick or at SU. And that course, let's say it's English 11, they get the college Warwick credit, and then they get English 11 credit for us. That's just one example.
And then the school system's also paying the tuition for the students to go to Salisbury University or Warwick for those classes.
Okay.
Is that 100%? I thought there was an 80-20, or I may be thinking about something else.
No, we're paying the full tuition. A number of years ago, there was certain percentages based on the income level of the student, but that was prior to Blueprint.
And that includes, so it's full for our students who access it, which many do, and you can see that's probably part of the reason why these numbers continue to increase. It's tuition, fees, books, everything. It's a great, students should be taking advantage of it, and many are. And then just also have some upcoming assessments just to make you aware of, and if you're interested in future assessment updates, can come back to you with some more as well. So that's just a quick overview. Yeah, Mr. Hollis.
Sure. Second language numbers still going down. I think the last time you were in front of us, there was a decrease in the amount of second language students.
We get a monthly, or I get a monthly report that I share out with the team. We have seen on average an approximate about a 20 student decrease per month.
20 student decrease per month?
Correct.
For how many months has that been happening?
This school year, this academic year.
Yeah. Since just before the year started, late summer.
A big decrease from the prior year to this year?
Yes.
And the funding that comes with those students also is decreased.
Does that say they're not coming to school, or they're being transferred, or their status is being changed from a second language to not second language? That means
no, it means they're not with us anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
The funding too, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a good question. As far as the funding goes, you remember last year we were in front of you talking about the record increase in enrollment that we had, and we gained around 600 students in 1 year. Last year, we've seen a decrease of close to 200 students in that time frame, and many of them are multilingual learners. All right.
Good.
Any other questions on
I had a
task
question.
force?
I did not actually give it to Laura. I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize. But whenever you're done, I'd like to ask that question if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Right now is okay?
Sure. It's fine.
Okay. So I was at the last Chiefs meeting, and we have a deficit of ALS providers. Providers for EMS and things of that nature. That's a trade, and you know, they mentioned a scholarship would be nice. Some sort of scholarship that maybe the county can provide so we can start developing more of an ALS program in Wicomico County so we can retain people. I don't know if that's something that you guys would be willing to entertain on trying to create a dual enrollment class with Warwick. I was at Warwick's dinner a couple weeks ago, and I did talk to Dr. Carey about this. Turns out her husband is an ALS provider as well in Hebron, and so she's aware of the situation. She wants to be a part of it, and I don't know if that conversation has been brought to you guys yet. And I'd like to see some direction going in that direction on how we can help. I'm speaking of myself, by the way. I didn't have the conversation, sorry guys. But as myself, I would like to see some sort of direction on how we can provide some sort of scholarship or something to get more ALS providers in our county.
Absolutely.
I think that's a huge priority. The people that provide right now are like in their 60s and 50s, and they want to be done. And we need more people to get involved. So
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. We have regular conversations and meetings with Warwick, so I would imagine that we haven't been approached yet that I'm aware of, but that can be something that we take a look at and further discuss with them.
Thank you.
I was at Parsonsburg Saturday night, and the lady that's in charge of the auxiliary made a comment that Warwick was dropping the EMT program.
I'm not aware of that. I've not heard that.
I will follow up on that. I'm not sure if that's correct or not.
Yeah, we have a number, as Dr. Briggs said, well over 20, probably twice that many of classes and courses and programs that all articulate for high school credit with both Warwick and Salisbury University. So
I'll follow up.
Yep.
You made it a point to bring that up. James, as far as a scholarship program, all you have to do is put some money in the bank and put a name on it.
Yeah.
You can start doling it out, bud.
Hey, I'm just trying to push the ball and see if we can get moving here.
As Dr. Stauffer said, we have ongoing conversations at least twice a year with both Warwick and SU to go through our approved dual enrollment courses. Sometimes it's initiated from them, sometimes it's from our side, but we've added courses that are on the approved list almost pretty consistently over the last several years to provide even more opportunities for our students. So I made a note of that, and we'll definitely keep that in mind.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Didn't we have a program at Parkside a year or so ago?
We did, and we were able to sustain that for about a year or two, and then the student enrollment in that program was something that our partners with EMS did not feel like it was beneficial to continue with.
Okay.
Not to say that we can't continue to do that, but at that point in time, it wasn't there. There's a lot of, obviously it has to fit in the high school schedule. They have to be able to meet the graduation requirements, which is pretty rigorous just in and of itself, but then also the amount of time that it requires for the students to get the EMS certifications is a large chunk of that student's day. So I think there's room for collaboration there, but at that point in time, they were just not able to get the student enrollment and for it to be able to fit for the students beyond that 1 year.
James is correct. We need to get some people in the pipeline and incentivize that process and get it started.
Agreed.
Josh.
Before we leave this document here, I just wanted to, so the graduation rate piece, that's really awesome that we're moved up from nearly 5% from 2020 to 2025. As far as our graduation rate, first of all, two questions, I guess. What do you attribute that to? And then second, what is the national graduation rate or even the state?
So the state graduation rate was 85% this year, just over 85% this year. We had traditionally, the last several years, had been just below the state average. This past year was the first year we've ticked above the state average. What do we attribute it to? Multiple members of the team could probably chime in. I mean, providing more opportunities for student engagement. You know, the students who want to be in school, who can connect to school not just through the academics, but whether it's through the arts, whether it's through sports, you know, providing more dual enrollment opportunity, everything across the board. You know, Mrs. Miles and Student Services providing other opportunities, focusing on student attendance. If they don't come to school, then they can't learn and earn graduation rates. Opportunities through evening high school and choices and alternative pathways. Those are a few just off the top of my head, I'm sure.
I'd also throw the semester scheduling that we moved to a number of years ago. That has helped where they're able to, if they are not able to pass a course, retake that next semester. It's very much in alignment with our Salisbury University and Warwick partners as well. I think that's another big piece.
Credit recovery through summer school opportunities.
The intervention piece, as Rick mentioned, with Student and Family Services has really improved. Honestly, not trying to bring it back to budget yet, but it really, you know, when 80% of our budget are people and we're able to hire people, and these are the areas that we've been focusing on with student supports, mental health, you know, all of those areas there, and plus the expanded programming that we've been able to offer in CTE, fine arts, all of those other things, it really does work hand in hand.
I mean, just summer school, I was just having a conversation with one of our summer school principals before coming here. I think it was 2 years ago, almost every school system on the shore had to cut their summer school. Like, they weren't able to have it because they didn't have the funding for it. And because of the funding that you helped provide us, we were able to maintain our summer. And so, again, we had students earning 1-2 credits in summer school to keep them on track and get them ready to graduate. So without that, again, back to Dr. Stauffer's point, those things make a difference.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
The magic of social media here, I just text this lady that made the comment. I know this isn't Warwick, but you guys are connected with this dual enrollment thing. And, you know, back in the fall, there was dual enrollment between Warwick and the EMT class. One of the cadets was able to get in there, and she's currently wrapping up her rides, and we'll have her national registry. When I went to set my daughter up and another cadet for the January class, I was told that by the school that it was no longer available as enrollment. Is my understanding, and I don't have full knowledge of this, but my understanding is the class does not fully align with the semesters, so they just stopped offering it. So.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
So, obviously a decision I'm assuming that Warwick made, and so we'll work with them to try to learn more about what's going on.
Yeah, okay, and it's, anyway, if you want to contact me, I'll give you her name.
Okay.
I don't want to, anyway. So.
Thank you. All right. Next agenda item, ready to go? we'll turn it over to Dr. Rager.
All right, had a couple things dealing with budgets. First I have on the list is a question about the forward funding for Fruitland Primary. So back in December, thank you, the council approved that arrangement. Our planning and construction department continues to work hard in partnership with the state to try to bring the amount of that forward funding down. There was a nice piece on WBOC last week where it was said it was $15 million. Just that day, we actually got news that we reduced the January forward fund, January 2027, to closer to $14 million. So we are trying to make progress there. And one thing I tried to point out to WBOC, and I think it's important for the public to understand, one of the reasons we need to forward fund, not just that the state has slowed down their cadence of providing funding, but the state provides such a large amount of the funding for our projects. When they provide such a large amount and you couple with their slower cadence in providing those funds to us, then we get in the world of needing that forward funding. If we were one of the wealthier districts who get a much lower cost share from the state, that state portion may be made up much more quickly, eliminating the need for forward funding, but the county's on the hook for a much greater portion of the construction costs. So it's kind of a good thing with some negative consequences in that it does extend the timeline for getting those funds, but it's still state funding covering the project, which for county taxpayers is a good thing. Maybe on the hook for a little bit of interest depending on how the county decides to structure the forward funding, but that's better for the county than being on the hook for 100% of those construction dollars. So any questions on forward funding?
Yeah, why did this suddenly become a news story?
I don't know. Kyle Orton's called Thursday.
We've known about this.
It was almost the same exact story that was in December. I'm guessing because it was noted in the county executive's budget hearing, and probably heard that and thought it was something noteworthy. Like I said, I thought it was really covered in December. We're moving
We did
forward.
ask the same question though ourselves.
Well, I asked him like, why is this coming up?
Something new? Yeah. Okay.
As far as the progress in the construction,
It's on time, yeah. It's looking good. There's concrete. I was at the school on Friday. Concrete walls going up at the gymnasium, cafeteria portion of the building. The slab is nearly fully, or if not fully poured across the building. A lot of structural steel coming up, things moving along, and still anticipating that opening in about a year and a half.
Question?
Sir.
So obviously you guys are going to start talking about another building here soon. Are you all thinking about
We'd like to.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we all would, right? But are you all thinking about a building for students that have like special needs? Or are you thinking of like a building for individuals that in the future?
We have been, and very public knowledge that we've been working very hard to bring a Maryland Association of Non-Public Special Education Facilities called MANSEF, M-A-N-S-E-F, and that's under the MSDE umbrella. And we are the only region in the state of Maryland that does not have a facility of that nature. So we've been working with our partners across the Eastern Shore to attract those types of facilities to the lower Eastern Shore. We've been in conversations with Benedictine School, Chimes, and also Kennedy Krieger. So we're very optimistic that hopefully sooner rather than later, and we're thinking anywhere from potentially 6 months to certainly a year and a half, we'll have a facility of that nature down here on the shore. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're working with our delegation, working with our partners up at MSDE. Healthy Minds for Shore is a consortium that has been meeting very regularly over the last few years. Their advocacy has played a large role in this, and then working with leadership from MANSEF itself.
Would you need county help with that, or is that going to be all state?
Well, we haven't got that close yet. I think certainly there could come a time where we may need, whether it be a letter of support or something of that nature, even potential funding if they needed to have some capital type funding to be able to come down here on the shore. But I think from what we're hearing right now that they're able to at least some of those entities that I named are entertaining coming down here without that need, or at least the need from the council at this point in time.
That was a really great Eastern Shore delegation discussion on that.
Yes.
And really fantastic to hear. It was quite exciting. And
very much so.
And our state partners have really done a great job in trying to help facilitate.
They have. I got to give a lot of credit to really our local partners through the Healthy Minds for Shore initiative, as well as our delegation. Senator DeCroza, Delegate Adams, and others have been very instrumental in all of that.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a lot sooner than I thought. I didn't think you were going to say, 6 months and a year and a half from now.
We're hopeful. I might be too optimistic on that, but from what I'm hearing, I think that could be very realistic.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question about will we be able to meet the state mandate, the legislative mandate of a minimum starting salary of $60,000 for next year. I can tell you that we have completed our negotiations at this time with all three bargaining units. That has not yet gone out to ratification, so I can't speak too much specific details, but we do feel very, very good that we will meet that mandate of $60,000 starting salary. More to come on that as they wrap up their ratification.
Is there, you might have just said it, is there a deadline to meet that agreement?
July 1st.
This July, okay, this July.
School year.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha, okay.
Yep.
There's an article that was shared with us by Ms. Hurley that showed that I think there were 10 jurisdictions who had not, didn't say they were not going to by July. Are you hearing any rumblings of pushback on that or anything else as far as Blueprint goes?
I think we've said it all along, and now that July 1st is looming, certainly the districts have been a lot more vocal regarding that, but I do think everyone recognizes that this is what the law says, and whether we have the funding to truly get there, which would just be to add it on to what we're already providing, or whether we have to get creative in how we approach negotiations and our salary scales and all of those other things that go into all of that. Either way, I think the Maryland districts, from what I'm hearing, for the most part, will be able to get there. It's not been easy, though.
Thanks.
And then I had a question about weapon detection, so I wanted to share some financial information with you about that. And we can speak about that.
Do we get to test it out? Do we get to go to a demo?
We can arrange that if once we get to that point where we have them in our schools, we'd love that.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. I don't mean test it out, I mean just try out the metal.
Sure,
See if
absolutely.
They work.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had some demonstrations, not only for our leadership staff, but also for our board members as well on a couple of different occasions.
Okay.
So as was alluded to in the salary discussion, it is a tight budget year for us. A year ago, I felt really good about getting that $60,000. It does take a little more creativity this year. We're looking at about, with what we've requested from the county and what the state's indicated they'll provide, about an increase in revenue next year of only about 1.3%, which again, when you consider 80% of our budget is people, and it would be an across the board. If we're going to do an across-the-board raise to get to that $60,000, it'll be about a 5.7% increase. So it does take some creativity to get there without doing that across the board. But that said, weapons detection would be an additional cost that we do not have currently in our budget. We did break out a couple of tiers. So if we were to do just the high schools, including evening high school and choices, you can see costs there. Estimated costs of units, a one-time expense would be about $450,000. Then it does take people to man those devices. So you need people at the entrances, making sure the students are properly going through them, making any other checks, maybe with wands and so forth if something lights up. So we see a recurring cost of the people of about $887,000. And then if we were to add all the middle schools in Tier 2, we can see those increased to about $800,000 and about $1.9 million for recurring for the people. And then all schools and programs, we see estimated cost of the hardware of about 1.6, and for the people, a recurring cost of about 3.2 million.
I want to note this is also different than the presentation that we made earlier to the council. So as with a lot of things in technology, costs are coming down regarding that. So, and also they're making weapon detection systems that are a little more user-friendly, so it doesn't take quite as many staff to be able to run those systems, which I think is good to see. So back to what Dr. Reger was saying, if you remember last year, we came to the council and worked with the county executive as well as the county council regarding what we would call a more long-term approach to school system funding here in Wicomico County, provided what we thought would be consistency not only for the council and for budgeting, but also for the school system. We made the case for that. We presented a lot of different information and charts and graphs and all of those different things. So in looking at this year, there's no surprises. And what we're looking for, that if you remember that calculation or that funding formula included maintenance of effort plus the cost of inflation or CPI from the previous year, plus a 2% investment moving forward to help to try to do the things that we were talking about before that you see are making a difference. We've been able to add behavior support programs throughout our school system to help with school climate and student discipline. That is going very well, and I think you're hearing good things from the community regarding that. We've been able to add staffing for multilingual learners and special education students, not having the resources, the only region in the state to not have those resources here yet, and you're hearing good things, I think, about that. And then we're able to even look at, on top of the redistricting that we did, just adding staff because of the large influx. Even though we've lost 181 students, we still have a tremendous increase in our overall enrollment regarding that, to help add classroom teachers to reduce those class sizes. On top of middle school sports and fine arts and the signature programs that we have added to our middle schools in conjunction with dual enrollment increases and all of the other things that we've been able to do for after school. We've now have 19 after school programs. Not that many years ago we had 12. So just adding a lot of those pieces that are really helping to support our students. That's what that CPI, which accounts for just the costs of doing business, the utility increases and the fuel prices and all of the other things, but that's what that 2% investment goes. So that's what we've included in our budget this year. We're hopeful that you'll be supportive of that. And then we've not included the weapon detection systems at this point in time, but we're very anxious to hear from the council and the county executive on what your thoughts are on moving forward, maybe with at least some aspect of this and getting these into our school system, because we see this as the next layer of safety that we need to add.
These are pretty unique devices. You got to get a lot of people through there in a short period of time. Is that right?
That's right. Our goal would be to have an entrance system that would take less than 15 minutes a day, which would require us to be able to move about anywhere between 1,350 and 1,500 students through at a time within those 15 minutes. So that's where you see that reoccurring costs coming from regarding manning those systems. And then if you think about the fact that our large high schools and Mardella, all of our high schools, dual enrollment, CTE, VPA, JROTC, visitors, guests, all of the other things that are coming through in conjunction with continuing to help monitoring our hallways and all of that, that plays a crucial part in that. So I don't think there's going to be any staff that we would need to run those systems that aren't going to be busy throughout the entire day with all of the different events that we have, the athletic events and other things that we have after school as well.
You used to have teachers that went out to the buses. I guess you still have that, right? I mean,
We do.
You have teachers that would man these.
So it's a good question, Mr. Holloway. Our thought is that there's not one staff member. We have duties that are assigned, just like it was many years ago. That's not changed. In order to operate these units, we would have to pull teachers if we did not have additional staffing from those assigned duties. So we'd be pulling them from the bus duty, from the cafeteria duty, from the bathroom or hallway duty to be able to do that. And we don't want to, make an improvement in this area, but then pull staff from another area and then that area, go down as well. So I think it's important that we're trying to improve our school climate and safety with this, and that's why we're suggesting it this way. We have the one deputy per school.
Yeah.
They would be in the vicinity, obviously, but they would also, I think, be supervising all of those areas. So you're talking about staffing that would be very much involved, hands-on involved with getting those 1,500 students through in 15 minutes and handling all of that, but also have radios, and then you'd have your deputy that's supervising that area, but you also have, remember, 600 kids eating in the cafeteria and kids that are leaving and coming and going on buses and going to other programs. So just supervising all of that, I think it takes collaboration and communication.
Delaware has that now, right? Delmar
Mm-hmm.
has it now?
Yes, they do.
Have you guys been able to check that out?
Yes, we have. Yeah,
I guess it's working out okay.
That's what we're seeing and hearing, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be very much interested in taking a look at that machine whenever you guys get to that point.
So that was kind of what we wanted to introduce to you. So keeping in mind that the operating budget is crucial, right? Keep doing the great things that we've been doing and making the progress that we're seeing. That's where that maintenance of effort plus inflation plus 2% go. And then obviously we're always very thankful for the council and your support of our capital projects. And I think that's going very well. If you've ridden by Fruitland Primary, you see the progress that's going on there. We know we have our HVAC Fruitland Intermediate project that we have in our capital budget that I'm hearing support for as well with that one-time funding. But then this is the piece that goes on top of all that, right? So we don't want to jeopardize something by taking away from what we're already doing, but recognizing that this is something that we feel really passionate about moving forward.
I'd like to go back if we can. Dr. Rigger, I think you said 1.3% increase. Was that due to the achieving the 60,000? I'm not sure if I related.
No, that's total revenue. So before we get to, so we look at our appropriation using that formula that Dr. Stauffer just stated. That brings in about 1.9 million above last year. And due to declining enrollment, it's actually about $700,000 less than what it would have been had enrollment stayed steady, just that maintenance of effort number.
Got it. Okay.
And then at the state level, there are a number of different funding streams that come from the state. We see a few increases in some, but we see a couple major decreases. $3.1 million less in compensatory ed, which students from poverty. That's due to a couple things. The formula the state uses to calculate that amount is done as a percentage of the foundation or the base amount, and that percentage drops each year during Blueprint, and the largest drop is for FY27. It's also due to the way we count those students. Many of them are, since we're a CEP, Community Eligibility Provision provision county where every student eats for free. We rely a lot on what we call direct certification of students, those who are on Medicaid, for example. And we know that decreasing ML population, we're losing students there, and we're even ones who are staying. We have folks who don't want to necessarily sign up for government resources, so that may be impacting that. Our multilingual has dropped almost $500,000, the allocation from the state. And we've seen a drop, and there was something called transitional supplemental instruction, which was to help students, particularly the earlier grades, who weren't proficient in reading. The state's actually cut that out. That was $877,000. So the state level, we're seeing much less than what I guess we could say we'd hope for. So we're tracking that for next year.
That's the net of all the things you
Yeah, the net of everything. So and it's really county appropriation, state appropriation, and then in the other we don't maintain really a big fund balance. Whatever we have in unallocated funds at the end of one year goes in to the following year's budget. And we saw a decrease there, and that's partially because we're doing a really good job at estimating our revenue and our expenses. So our prior year's fund balance last year was almost $5.5 million. This year it's $3.2 million. That's not any new money. It's just how we're using whatever's left over at the end of the year.
How does the 1.3 stack up to the last, whatever, 3 or 4 or 5 years?
We were closer, I'm turning to Jesse, about 10% last year. Last year was a good, last year this time you said 60,000 to me, I'd say no problem. If things keep going how they're going, unfortunately.
That's dramatic.
It's a big difference, yeah. When you look at cost of doing business, and Dr. Stoffel referenced that 2.7 CPI, that's to help us with cost of doing business. But when you consider the biggest function of our cost of doing business is the increase in healthcare, and healthcare is increasing at 3 times the rate of inflation, a little better than 3 times. So we're seeing almost about a 10% increase in healthcare expenses. That really puts a crimp on things.
Yeah, when you're talking about your overall cost of doing business and being up, as he said, $10 million health insurance increase, we know we needed to get to legitimately get to $60,000, we would have had to do over a 5% raise across the board, which we cannot do. We'll be lucky to do 20% of that, honestly. And then your CPI is 2.7%, which impacts all of your other costs of doing business. And then our net revenue increase was 1.3%. So you start to get the picture pretty quick.
And just to clarify, 10% on health insurance, not 10 million.
I'm sorry, 10%, thank you.
A little over $2 million.
Yeah, thank you.
Last year, the state passed down 1.8 million in teachers' pension. And what is it this year? Jesse's shaking his head.
Yeah, you're right.
Is it 1.4 this year? Or?
For the county, yes.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
I guess you could say, oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, to clarify, that doesn't come into our budget. That's a direct from the county to the state, and it's something we didn't ask for, no one in this room asked for. The state just put it down to the counties as a way of helping them balance the state budget. So
we're seeing some similar things with Blueprint, as Dr. Egger was saying. You know, some of the increases that we have typically seen for students of poverty or CEP, multilingual, they're taking some of those pots of money in Blueprint and shifting them in other places to show increases in one area, but you're experiencing decreases in another area.
So one of my questions has there been a commensurate decrease in the amount of requirements coming down from Blueprint to equal those dollars?
No.
Not to grind on Blueprint, but
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Funny.
Not even close.
I didn't want to elicit a laugh, but anyway, that's stereotypical unfunded mandate, I guess you could say. I can say that at least anyway. But
I'll say it's funded. Their answer to everything is it's in the foundation, and the foundation does continue to increase a little bit on a per pupil basis, but we see reductions in a lot of those other areas like compensatory ed, multilingual.
Yeah. And any other questions? That's all we had from you on the agenda, and it's all the things that we
have one
had
question.
today. Yes, sir.
I did not. We had a gentleman come to the podium a few meetings ago and ask about middle school sports. And I know you guys are doing great work with that. So the public knows what's going on with middle school. Can you give
Just left a great middle school sports play day to come here, and it was at Salisbury University. It's their spring break right now, so they are very generous and work with us to be able to have 2 play days that involve all of our middle schools, both days. Today was girls basketball, tomorrow's boys basketball. They'll be there the majority of the day. So middle school sports, what we're able to have, I believe it's 7 sports at this point in time. That fall, winter, and spring sports. We're able to have coaches from our middle schools, and they're able to practice on a regular basis after school, sometimes as many as 2 and 3 teams at each of the middle school, and then they produce a competitive team that then will have a play day as a culminating event at the end of each season. And we work with a lot of our local partners here that are, again, very generous, whether it's Salisbury University, whether it's Strawberry Fields in Pittsville, Fruitland Falcons, all provide fields for us to be able to, have these culminating events. And a lot of this was sparked from the Wicomico County Education Foundation, who was looking for something to be able to get involved. We have a lot of stipulations for students to be able to be involved with these things. They have to have good behavior, good grades, and good attendance in school, and do well in their classes, and have, obviously a positive attitude. And once they meet those eligibility requirements, they can participate in this. So we're finding that between this, our signature programs, some of the expansions we've been able to do with fine arts and our after-school programs, it's really making a difference, especially at those middle school levels.
You've seen a shift?
We have. We've seen behavior improvements. We've seen, on the numbers, GPA increases from our students, and our attendance overall for our school system has been improving as well. Makes a difference.
I just want to add to that, I guess, to that piece there. I talked to a gentleman yesterday who was basically concerned. He said he's got two kids, both very little. They're a question of whether or not he's taking them into Wicomico County Public Schools. And I only bring it up to basically say that there seems to be always like a fairly consistent lag and kind of delta between what's really happening. You all are doing absolutely amazing things with very limited resources. And I don't know that the public always, the broader public, understands all that. They may be tuning into their social media and hearing negative things. And I know Mr. Butler for many years did a great job in continuing to promote the positive things that are happening, but I don't know if there's anything more that could be done to continue to to move out of that traditional, I don't want to say silo, but traditional. You all are doing the work that you're doing, and that's what you're focusing on. But I would love for the narrative that is actually happening to catch up with the public, and so that they know really the amazing things that are actually going on. Because I think that would very much encourage people to want to, to have their kids come to school and not have those kinds of thoughts and have the conversations like I did yesterday. So I don't know how to help on that. I don't know how the county council knows how to help on that, but we really do think that that's important, and what you all are doing is phenomenal and needs attention.
We would need help from the local media, because when anything goes wrong, there's a great story, and it comes, I'm not embarrassed to say this publicly, MDT, BOC, there's a story run, but we don't often see the stories about the things that happen at middle school play day. There should be a giant story tonight, and there was it on BOC this morning for Coach Butch Waller. He's in the state championship again, and this is his last game after a 60-year coaching career, which is unbelievable. So they are covering that, which is a positive, but we need more positive coverage. But this isn't anything new that we've been preaching or any other organization. So if you have contacts there, then go for it.
No, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. Kind of have a running joke around my office about the number of press releases that we do all the time that never get published. I always encourage people to sign up for our social media pages because I think that's very important, and we try to, I think Paul Butler and Tracy Saylor do a great job of keeping those updated and keeping the good news coming. And obviously, we have a tremendous number of success stories each and every day within our school system that we're very proud of, and we'll continue to work on it. It was so cool before I came over here, as I said, was at Salisbury University. We just started cheerleading at the middle school level, so of course all the cheerleaders were there from each of the middle schools, cheering on all the female athletes with a new program that just took place, just started a few years back, and the level of participation we've expanded now. It's not only the 2 downstairs courts, but also 2 courts upstairs, playing this round robin tournament that'll occur throughout the entire day today because there's so many athletes that are involved in this, and all of that's happening. We have volunteer officials and referees that are coming in to be able to help us with that. We have so many, some of our high school athletes were there to help show the students where to go and what to do and be able to get from court to court and all of that. And then on top of all of that, at the same time, our new broadcast media signature program from Bennett Middle School is in the middle of everything, interviewing athletes and coaches and doing little YouTube broadcasts and everything as a part of that new program that we started at Bennett Middle School a couple years ago. So it was pretty cool to see, and like you said, Mr. Malone and others, it would be nice to see more of that for sure.
Doing great work, and
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day, and if you have any questions on this, please let us know. We appreciate your support. Thank you all. Appreciate our team as well.
You're cheering Coach Waller on tonight?
Yep. It'll.
There you go. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's adjourn. Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.